Hello and welcome to the Game of Miles podcast, where Daddy and Papa take a game of inches and turn it into 1,000 miles. Jake, we are going into week 5. How you doing this week, buddy?
Billy, I'm doing great. The fantasy football season is flying by. I can't believe we're already in week 5, and
Crazy.
it's going by fast, and I'm having a great time.
I know it is flying by. I looked the other day and we got about a quarter of the season already behind us. A lot's happened so far, and it's only week 5, so I'm ready to get into it this week. But man, I can only imagine what's to come.
I know I'm excited to see what happens. A lot of controversy this week, and that's only the beginning. I think it's going to get worse as time goes on.
I agree. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. We got our first segment of the week. It is called Check Yourself. We're going to be naming our segments, trying to get a little more high tech here at the podcast, but Check Yourself. And of course, that's brought to you by BJ's Hardware, our number one sponsor of the pod. Jake, what do we got this week from BJ's?
Folks, listen up. This Friday is Flathead Friday. You get 15% off all flathead screwdrivers, multiple sizes, multiple colors. Get it while it's hot.
I know those pink ones are going to sell out with our group of friends, but we'll have plenty of other colors for the manly men of the group. But I'm excited for Flathead Fridays. That sounds like a great promotion.
I am as well.
And with Check Yourself, that is where we'll be going and checking the commissioner and analyzing all his predictions each week. So Grant has been on a roll with his predictions. First of all, shout out to Grant, 2 kids, principal job, and he still gets his predictions in every week. So shout out to the commish. But he's been on a streak of 4-2 lately. And I don't know. We'll see if he gets another week under 4-2 or if he can do better. What do you think?
I don't know how he does it, but he's consistent with the same record every week. And hats off to him. And this week, let's dive into it and see if he can beat that record.
All right. So last week, some of the matchups that we had, the first one was myself, Peanut Butter Spellies versus the He-Man Woman Haters Club. It was a close game, but it was really low scoring, pretty surprising. Well, I guess Kyle ended up putting some decent points up by the end, but Grant picked Kyle to win, and Kyle did win, unfortunately, putting me at 2-2, and Kyle is 4-0.
He's 4-0. Low scoring, I think, for both your teams. Was until Waller and Eckler on Monday night went off. Mm-hmm. And Kyle did say he was nervous. I think he said he needed 15 going into Monday Night Football, and he got it done. 4-0. First, he was, him and Landon are the 2 undefeated teams. Yeah. Not surprised, but Kyle is still at the top of the food chain.
Good for Kyle. I'm sitting at 2-2, which I will take. I just want to hover around 500 till I could get Michael Thomas back, but we'll discuss that a little later. The next matchup we had was the Adams family versus you, taking care of business. The commish picked you, and what happened, Posh?
The commish was right, moving to 2-0. I thumped Willie. I think I put up 149 or something like that. I had a touchdown almost on every player. Willie's team was non-existent. He had definitely – I'm going to predict that is going to be the league low for the whole season.
So Willie put up 53.82 this week or last week, and you put up 144. So great job by your team. Everybody was going off. I love the Cordell Patterson start. Number 3 running back in the league this year. Yep. Who would have saw that coming? So great pickup by you. But and also we mentioned that as a waiver wire edition on the pod a few weeks ago. So you get the inside scoop here on the pod. But yeah, Willie is officially on a wellness alert for the rest of the season.
He was. I was hoping he didn't harm himself this week. I was actually nervous. Monday night he was non-existent through me. Usually he's lighting it up. I had to check on him.
Yep.
So he's good, but it was a thumping. And Willie, I'm sorry, I love you, but it had to be done.
Yeah, and that puts Willie at 0-4. So if you guys are looking to make trades with anybody, I know I've been talking to him this week. He's definitely open to trading, but Willie, better days are ahead, my friend.
Yes.
All right, next up, we had Little PP's Lost Boys versus Sweatpant Bone Dogs. This was another lopsided matchup. Scott's team just went off this week, and Grant still decent numbers, but just not quite what Scott did.
Another thumping. Grant's team performed, I would say, as expected. Scott's team was for an 0-3 team. I think he went on a touchdown streak this week. And at one point he was touching 185, I think, in his predictions. And, incredible. See if he can keep it up. Hard to put up that many points consistently, but we'll see what he can do. But he ended up getting the win because it was a thumping. And Scott got his first win of the season.
Yeah, we'll see if it can continue. Don't have a streak until it happens more than once. But Grant picked himself this week, and, of course, Scott won. So that was the first loss of the week. So he's sitting at 2-1 so far. Up next, we had Cock, Dock, and Drop It versus Bishop Sycamore. Grant picked Bishop Sycamore, a.k.a. Maury, this week. And surprising, Spencer pulled out the win. What did you think of his performance?
His team, he started from the get-go saying he does not like his team, and he got his first win of the week or of the season, which was I needed him to win for divisional purposes.
Yep.
So thank you, Dick Doc, and I was happy he got on the board. He was very active in the waiver wire last night. So Dick Doc's trying to make some moves, and he delivered his own child. He can do anything. So I'm not counting him out yet.
I agree. I think he has the reputation of being a good fantasy manager, so I don't think he's just out of it yet. But getting his first win of the season will definitely help get that on track. The next matchup we had was Loading ... aka Fathom versus Big Lang Theory. Grant went with Big Lang Theory, and
there's
an amazing feat. Lang got the win. We're going to discuss it more on the podcast, but Lang got the win, so Grant got the prediction right.
There's not much to say about this. We'll touch on this later. Fathom blew it, and Landon got the victory, moving to 4-0 as well.
Yep.
Up there with Kyle. Grant got his prediction right, and we're going to leave it at that.
Yes. So many words can be said. But anyway, moving on to the final game, we had Pickle Rich versus Christian Injuries. Grant went with Pickle Rich, and Pickle Rich got the victory. So that puts Grant once again for the weekly predictions at 4-2. Overall record is 16-8, if my math is correct. But what do you think about Rich and his victory?
Rich had I can't remember who he had a player go off to. He is
Sam Darnold continues to impress, number 5,
which was a good stream. Good stream by Rich. Jim battling injuries still, but he was positive in the chat saying, I still put up X amount of points with this many injuries. I'll be okay. Which, Jim, I love the confidence. But Rich, moving to 3-1. He's a sleeper. Rich doesn't, he doesn't smack talk a lot. He just kind of sits back and puts up points and gets dubs.
Yep, and we'll see how that works out for him. Sam Darnold, great. His running backs went off. Henry had 24. CEH had 18. I did see today in the news, Jim, that Christian McCaffrey was practicing in full pads today. So hopefully he will be back on the field for you soon. Hopefully not too soon, though, since you're in my division. But another great win from Pickle Rich. But it's just crazy how Grant is 4-2 every week of the season. Overall, 16-8. So Grant, I don't know. If you want to get more correct this week, we would encourage that. If you want to get less, just mix it up. But 4-2 is still a great weekly record. If you do that all season, we'll be very impressed. But so far, 4-2 each week.
Yes, consistency. And those segments will get shorter and shorter, Grant, if you keep going 4-2. So let's mix it up. Let's
That's right. But definitely a weird week. So, all right. And for our next segment that we're going to hop into is Slap Bet Showdown. But first, before we get into the Slap Bet Showdown, we do have a special guest here on the pod. We have Loading ... Mr. Adam Griss. How are you, Adam?
Hey, good. How you guys doing?
We are doing great. Thanks for joining us this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I get fucking roasted on my shitty ass trade.
Oh, Fathom.
Fathom, buddy? Yeah. Well, for the people who are just joining and that are new to the podcast, Fathom traded with Scott, who was 0-3 at the time in a divisional. Oh, he's got some background images. Traded Kenyon Drake, who is a backup for the Raiders and he gave Josh Jacobs a starter for the Raiders to Scott. Fathom, I have a couple of things to say about this. One, you traded with a divisional opponent who did not have a win. 2, you blew a lead. You blew your game to another divisional opponent.
Yeah.
And you gave up a undefeated season. So take us through.
Tell us the story, Fathom. How did Scott approach you? What was the conversation like? What was going on?
Scott texts me and says, "Yo, Josh Jacobs is going to be playing tonight. I'll trade you for him." And he said, "I got 2 other running backs." And I was like, "Who are you?" I asked him who he was going to trade for. I didn't realize he wanted Josh Jacobs. Why would he want him if he's not going to play? Right? Yeah, I know. It's fucking stupid. But I told him, I was like, they haven't said he's not playing yet. So I was like, I'm going to wait and see.
Okay, that's a good move.
He texted me again later and said, he said he's got an ankle injury and this, what did it say? An ankle and game time decision this deep into the week on a Monday isn't a good sign. So, yeah, I made that stupid trade. And text me today. I'll give you Jacobs and Knox for Cook. Or no, he said, I'll trade you Jacobs back. I just needed you to lose that game. Fucker. Fuck Scott.
Well, thank you for that in-depth insight, Adam.
I'm not the smartest person in the league here.
Well, no, you're not. And there's a reason certain people text you is because they can't get deals done with anyone else. We shut them down. So, Adam, your team is good.
Yes.
You should be 4-0. Quit trading.
By like 2 points.
Also,
yeah.
Just a tip for any manager out there. If somebody texts you and says, I'm going to trade you the backup for the starter, even if he's going to be out that 1 week, just say no. Just say no.
No, I've learned my lesson.
And yeah. And you know enough. Google, Twitter, whatever. Look,
it's not like I wasn't checking that. I was checking it, and it kept saying, fucking game time decision.
Even if it was a good trade, you should have said no. You're last place, and you're in my division. I'm not trading.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, well, and we won't talk about. We talked about. I had to start talking with Fathom about his fantasy, what to do, what not to do. So I'm confident he won't be making any more trades like that from here on out.
I need a coaching class, I guess.
Well, I think you're doing just
Manager's
fine.
Class.
I mean, you should be 4-0. I think you're doing just fine. So whatever you've been doing, it's been great. Just don't let other teams get in your head. That's probably the biggest thing. But
I like our 3-way trade. I thought that was a pretty good trade.
I mean, you got to hurt Dalvin Cook, but yeah, it was better than
shit yet.
It was better than the last one you did.
But you got his backup, who's the best backup running back in the league. So you had the handcuff there. And
Dalvin Cook
is a top 3 running back when he's healthy. So that wasn't horrible.
Yeah, and you beat me with Cook's backup because you put up like 24 points. So good job. But what is your trading strategy going forward?
I don't think I'm going to be trading unless I absolutely have to. I'll pick up players on the fucking waiver wire if I need to.
Well, you can trade. You just got to do your due diligence.
Well, I'm not trading with Scott. So, Scott, don't ever try and offer a trade to me again.
I think maybe the whole league should be boycotting Scott, trading with Scott, since he definitely took advantage of you.
Yeah.
Also, maybe not trading right before a game. If you're going to trade, do it earlier in the week where you have time to do your research.
I know. I was just I was worried I was going to lose anyways. But I should have just not fucking done it.
Well, we would have rather you took the loss than you get. Like I said, you helped out both of your divisional opponents in 30 seconds. But you learned.
That's all right.
You'll move on. Your team's you're still going to be okay. Josh Jacobs ain't that good anyway. He's all right, but
I don't think about. It's like I didn't. I mean, I know they're in my division, but I don't. That doesn't occur to me when I'm making trades and shit.
Well, when you're undefeated, or now 3-1, but should be undefeated, you don't have to think about that stuff. Yeah, and you know, I think your team's going to be just fine. How do you feel about your team going forward in the rest of the season? You think you'll make the playoffs?
I feel pretty good. I hope after this week kind of sucked though. Jesus,
it did.
It did suck. Who do you play this week?
Evan, I believe.
We just talked about how Rich kind of sits in the shadows and drops dubs on people, so that should be a good matchup.
I think it'll be a good matchup. I think Dalvin Cook should be back this week, so that'll help you out your team.
Yeah, I got Pickle Rich.
Yeah, I'm looking at your team here. You still have Kenny and Drake in your line.
I heard Josh Gordon might be debuting this week too.
He will. I mean, that would be a little risky to play him
I don't know if I want to play him yet, but
see, now you're thinking like a real owner.
Yeah, we'll gotta wait to see what he does.
The old Fathom would just put him in there and see what happens. But now you turned a new leaf this year, Fathom. You're, like I said, your team's great.
Thanks. Yeah, we put in a lot of hard work, a lot of practice.
Sure. Well, good.
How many times has Josh Gordon been suspended? I heard it was like fucking
5. I think it's 5.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't get too attached to him.
Yeah, there's a good chance he might be suspended here in a minute. I gave him I think in group me, I gave him 4 games, and then he'll be suspended. So,
and for the Chiefs' sake, we're going to keep Josh Gordon away from you over there pounding beers and doing God knows what. So no team outings with Josh Gordon this year with you and your team.
Yeah, don't. Well, Fathom, we appreciate you jumping on. We were glad for the insight.
I hope you like my sign. I actually had to write that backwards so it would look right in the fucking camera.
It's backwards on the camera.
It's backwards on the camera.
No way! It's not on my screen!
It is on our screen.
Damn it!
Yes.
I contested it.
Yeah, but you go.
Can we start over?
No, we're live.
No, we're live right now. We're live.
The fact that you wrote it backwards. That's
trying to get ahead of it.
Adam, I
can honestly say this won't be the last time you're on the podcast.
Hold on.
I don't know. See what you can do.
All right, now can you see what it says?
It literally is the same thing. Nothing changed.
Oh, that's great. All right. Well, with that, we are going to let you go, Fathom. We appreciate it. We wish you luck this week against Pickle Rich. And if you have any trade requests, maybe run it by a league member or two before you accept.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, Fathom. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Fathom.
Peace out, pussy farts.
See ya. Oh, damn.
Oh, yes.
He is a boy. There's never a dull moment with Fathom.
There never is, and I'm glad that he was our very first special guest for the podcast. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to top that.
No,
I agree. We will probably have to have Fathom back on again.
We might just have to have a weekly segment with Fathom.
That could be something that's arranged, or he just becomes a permanent member of the podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, he's but I would say we could have Fathom Fridays, but it's Flathead Friday this Friday, and so nothing's touching that.
Yes. Remember, Flathead Fridays, always appreciate our sponsors, BJ Hardware. We're looking to get some swag from them in the future. We'll see if that comes in. We will have our other sponsors later in the podcast. So any swag that you can send our way would be appreciated.
Yes.
All right. So before Fathom joined, we were about to get into our next segment, which is the Slap Bet Showdown. And that's where we analyze the Kamara versus Jonathan Taylor season totals and see who's going to end up slapping who between me and Grant. So, Post, you want to take us through that?
Yes. As of today, after this week, Kamara 52.9 total points. Taylor, who actually got a touchdown this week, is up to 47 points. So Kamara's still in the lead. Kamara is a little more agile, I would say, than Taylor. Taylor's kind of a goal line straight runner. Kamara catches those passes out of the backfield, which Taylor can do, but Kamara does it a lot better and a lot more efficiently. So I think I'm sticking with Kamara on my prediction. That's going to win. I do think it's going to be close, but without that touchdown, it'd be a blowout right now.
Different. Yes. Yeah, pretty weird week for the slap bet. Kamara had over 120 yards rushing, I believe, and no targets. I think that was the first time he hasn't had a target or a catch, I should say, in a long time, maybe ever. And Jonathan Taylor did get into the end zone finally for the first time this week. So a lot of weird things going on. I don't expect Taylor to get into the end zone every week, and I don't expect Kamara to not have any catches every week. So I'm still confident with the Kamara slap bet. Grant, prepare your face, and we'll keep you guys posted going forward.
And also, side note, Maury, I have Hines. If you want that handcuff, let me know.
All right. Making trades on the pod. I love it. Also, our last segment for the week, power rankings. One thing that I noticed this week in our weekly reports that come out through Sleeper in the chat feature is they do power rankings for us. So We're still working on getting the access to the website and posting all the power rankings on there, which we have them all documented. But if you guys, I noticed it was only on the mobile app. It wasn't on the desktop version for whatever reason. That's just another notch against Sleeper, why it's the stupidest fantasy football platform in the history of mankind. But
I was just going to say, I think Sleeper is getting roasted today.
Yep.
There's a lot of people who do not like it. I'm impartial. It's all right with me for now. It hasn't screwed me over in any way yet. I do like the power rankings, and you plugged the website. Breaking news: I was texting Willie today, and he is officially giving us access to the website. So, boys, be prepared. Svelly and I will be updating and running the website from here on out. Willie still can work it if he wants to,
yep.
but we're officially taking it over. So be prepared to check that weekly.
Yep. TDs and Beer League website brought to you by BJ's Hardware. Just remember that. But let's get into it. We're going to go through power rankings here. Again, they're the same as on the app that came out on the notification for the weekly report, but we'll walk you through it. So no surprise, we're going to have the Jersey Mike sub above the rest. Number one ranking this week, and no surprise, it is Kyle. I think he's going to own that top spot until he at least loses, or Lang just proves that his team is a lot better.
Yeah, I think the only difference between Kyle and Lang is that the points 4.
Yep.
So
Kyle's team is. He's the leader in points 4.
Yeah, he's leader in everything.
Yeah,
but. Kyle is number one for the 4th week in a row. Depending on what happens this week, even if he does lose, he'll probably only drop to number 2. And he's looking good, sitting at the top.
Yep, it's always good to be at the top. You won't win the league, but it'll be a lot less stressful throughout the season. Number 2, our other 4 in our team. Now, I have a little bit of an asterisk by this because now it wasn't Lang's fault that he didn't lose this week. It wasn't his fault that Adam made that stupid trade. A win's a win. You're 4-0. You're going to be number 2 in the power rankings. But scoring only, how many points did he score? What was it, 70-something?
Yeah, it was pretty low for Lang.
Big Lang theory. He scored 78. So when you're only putting up 78 and you're the number 2 team, that's not good. But like I said, 4-0, win's a win, and we'll keep you there. Up next, we got Pickle Rich. We mentioned that earlier in the podcast. This is a good jump for him. He was number 5 last week, and now he's up to number 2. So I don't know if there's anything more you want to say about his team, but number 3 in the rankings looking pretty good.
Yeah, he jumped 2 spots. Rich could probably easily be 4-0 as well. Despite having one bad week, but he jumped to number 3, cracking top 3, and he's going to look to stay up there.
Yep. Next, we have Fathom. The only reason Fathom's here and he's not going to be up this high for long is because he's 3-1. So we wanted to give him a little credit on 3 wins, and he should have been 4-0. But with that trade, I was just looking at his team. I mean, his number 2 running back is Kenyon Drake. And
it is now, yeah.
Yeah, and then the only other running back we're starting is Dalvin Cook. So Cook is going to have to produce for 2 running backs essentially because Drake's not going to do much, and in his flex he has a wide receiver. So I'm kind of worried about Fathom's team going forward. Sitting at number 4 this week, but I think he's going to struggle to stay up there.
One thing I do want to touch on Lang is he got the number 1 waiver wire pick this week with Damian Williams. I was looking at Landon's team, and on his bench, 5 running backs. I don't know what he's going to do with all those people, but Landon is, and this might be controversial, but he is 1 wide receiver injury away from being in trouble.
Yep.
Unless he has something up his sleeve I don't know about.
I mean, his flex spot right now is Marvin Jones. He's wide receiver 29, but the last 2 weeks he's only put up 9 and 3. I wouldn't bake on the Jacksonville offense much for your flex production. But yeah, he has Sony Michel, Ronald Jones, Damian Williams, Gainwell, Roundtree. Has one wide receiver and Mooney on the bench. Gainwell is an interesting player. I think that he can produce, but everybody else is backups. So, well, and I guess Damian Williams will be there for a short time. But, yeah.
3 to 4 weeks. Gainwell actually tore it up against the Chiefs, and I think that's 2 weeks in a row. Gainwell has put up some numbers against his opponents, and Miles Sanders, nowhere to be found.
And that kind of goes into Willie's 0-4 start, having a running back one that can't produce. So
that's right.
Yes, it's been a weird year already. All right, up next, leading off the 2-2 teams is you, taking care of business. How do you feel about your team? You had a good jump from 7 up to 5 this week.
My team went off this week. My Cordero Patterson, 3 touchdowns. Everyone on my team, I think, had a touchdown besides, I think, the defense and my kicker. Everyone else did well. I like my team. I liked it from the draft. My loss to Fathom was because of my defense. So I coulda, woulda, shoulda. If my aunt had balls, I could be 3-1. But I like my team. I like my wide receivers. Najee Harris is, after 2 slow starts, is stepping it up now. I read that he has the most catches out of the backfield out of any running back by 5. So he's tearing it up for me. Yeah. Mixon, he was supposed to be my workhorse.
Yeah.
He's twisted ankle. But he's still producing. But I'm happy, and I'm happy to be in the top 5.
Yep, I agree. I think you're doing well. I think you got a well-rounded team. That Patterson move, man, what a payoff. So great pickup there.
He's actually listed as an RB and a wide receiver, so he's actually in my running back spot this week for Mixon.
Nice. I love it. Up next, we got Grant. Grant stayed the same as a 2-2 record. He was 6 last week and 6 this week. Grant has a good team. They really need to be firing on all cylinders to really produce and get a win. But overall, I mean, Grant has a very decent team. I could see him making some moves. The running backs are a little suspect, but great wide receivers. And when it really comes down to it, he just needs everybody to put a game together and to go off.
Yeah, Grant's team, he will be making moves. You can count on that. I think he lives. There's 3 or 4 people who live for making trades in this league.
Yeah.
The rest of us just kind of stay in hiding until it's needed. But Grant's team, he's always a threat. I mean, he's a 2-time champion, so he's always a threat.
And up next, we have number 7. The last 2-2 team is myself, Peanut Butter Spellies. I had the lowest drop this week. I was number 4 last week and down to number 7. And I'm okay with that. I think that's well-deserved. My team only put up like 70-some points. And I think along with Grant, I have some weaknesses in my team that need to be addressed. I think that in order for me to win on a given week, all my players need to go off and my studs really need to go off. Otherwise, I'm not going to have enough points because my running backs are good, but my wide receivers are suspect. I picked up Hunter Renfrow. He is the number 23 wide receiver this week. I think he's just a good volume guy.
He's been getting action lately.
Yep, he's just one of those guys that's going to put up 12 points. I have a ton of wide receivers on my bench that are hit and miss. I have Robbie Anderson, who's been a dud. Sutton has been kind of a dud. Jalen Waddle. Luckily I picked up Schultz because my tight end Logan Thomas is on injured reserve. But my main factor is Michael Thomas sitting on my bench. I'm waiting for him to come back week 7. He's got to go 500 until then, and I think he'll be a big bolster in my wide receiver core. But I have some work to do for sure.
Yeah, I also I stole Crowder from you from the Jets in the waiver wire.
Yeah,
this week I think you and Dick Doc put in for him as well.
See, I'm kind of just throwing darts at wide receivers right now, and I just need somebody to step up and be my wide receiver too. I think Crowder will be good. I was hoping to get Renfrow more, so I'm glad I got my guy. But if he produces, I'll become knocking for a trade later in the season.
Hey, I'm always available to listen.
Up next, we got Sweatpant Bone Dogs. He is our first 1-3 team. He had a big jump. He scored all those points, 171 this week. He was number 11 last week and is up to number 8. I really like Scott's team. I think he's made a lot of good moves, but we'll just see if he can get all those players to produce week in and week out. He's 1-3 for a reason, but I think they're trending in the right direction.
Getting your first win, that's always a positive. Good positive reinforcement for the team. We'll see if he can keep it going.
Up next, we have number 9, Bishop Sycamore, a.k.a. Maury. So Maury moves down one spot. He was 8 last week and down to number 9. Maury, I think he's going to need to make a couple moves in order to really take that next step and challenge you for the division title. He's got some good guys. I mean, his running backs, Chubb and Taylor, are good. He's got good wide receivers, but I just think that as soon as bye weeks start coming around, his bench is pretty scarce and doesn't really have anybody to turn to. I mean, Gaskin, Sermon, Ruggs, Tremble. I don't know. I think he's going to need to make some moves as well.
Yeah, bye weeks might be a problem for Maury. Bye weeks might be trouble for me. Week 7, I got 3 people out, I think. But Maury, you'll be all right. I think, like I said, make some moves. You and Kyle probably have the most football knowledge out of anyone. I think you can find a way to get some wins.
I agree. Rounding out the bottom 3, we have Christian Injuries at 1-3. He is down one spot from number 9 to number 10. Jim's team, we've said it before, he's going to stay at the bottom of the rankings until he gets Christian McCaffrey back. He is practicing, as I mentioned, so that's a good sign, but I just think it's going to be an uphill battle unless he can start making some moves with some maybe undefeated teams or 3-1 teams and unload Christian McCaffrey and get somebody that's going to produce right away.
Yes. Like I said, 2 years in a row, McCaffrey getting hurt, hurts Jim, but you can hang around there, Jim. He's coming back soon. But you got to take McCaffrey. I mean, he's the best running back in the league, even if he is hurt.
I agree. Number 11, we have Cock, Dock, and Drop It. He is up one spot from number 12, not the bottom of the barrel anymore. And so he is 1-3 as well. Got his first win, as we mentioned. With his team, I really think it's something Grant said in his predictions. He is relying a lot on guys on the same team. So Washington with Gibson and McLaurin really have to hit. It's just kind of a crapshoot. We'll see if that's going to pay off. I think teams are starting to get settled in their offenses by week 5, so it could work out. But again, anybody below, I don't know, anybody 2-2 below you and down, I think are probably going to have to make some moves, and we'll see what pays off.
Yeah, Dick Dog getting his first win this week against a divisional opponent. Like I said, getting your first win, boosting morale. Yeah. And we'll see if he can and it might encourage him to make some moves too. You know, now that he's got his win, he knows what he has to do. So we'll see what happens with Dick Doc in the future.
And the person that is
Willie
at the bottom of the barrel, we have the Adams family 0-4, down 2 spots from number 10 to number 12. Just looking at his team, I just want to go through his starters real quick. Kirk Cousins, who should be a decent starter, ends up putting a season low 10 points last week. Now, I do think he will bounce back and be a decent starter going forward. DeAndre Swift, I think that's his first name. Yeah, DeAndre Swift. He's so hit and miss. He either puts up 20 or he puts up 7. Miles Sanders is irrelevant. Adams and Diggs, great wide receivers, but I feel like they haven't completely broken out in their offenses. So I could see Willie potentially moving one of those guys for maybe a running back. Hawkinson has been good, but he is hit and miss too. Either puts up 21, 16, and then 2 or 6. So a lot is banking on that Detroit offense, which is something that I wouldn't want too much stock in. Julio Jones, I will spare you the spiel on Jones because you know all too well. Just Mr. Unreliable.
Get rid of him, Willie.
And then defense and kicker, and the bench is really nothing to be desired. So, Willie, I don't mean to pick on you. I mean that you have some good assets on your team. 0-4, now is officially the time to start looking to make some moves. And I know you're open to it because I've been talking with them a little bit this week. So, but do we want to put him on alert?
I after this week and the thumping he got, putting up 56 points or whatever, Willie, you're officially on Squid Watch.
Squid Watch.
You could still turn it around, but right now you are the front runner. I'm sorry to say it. as the league squid right now, it's nowhere you want to be, but it'll only make you better.
Yep, and that's coming from two guys who were in the Squid Bowl last year. I don't think I got a win. I think I had 2 wins last year. Definitely going to be a long season for you, buddy. But if anybody could run a beer mile, it's you. So we look forward to seeing that. And only one request: if you happen to run the beer mile and you're the Squid, you have to let your hair down and let it flow in the wind as you run.
Yes, and you got to wear the hat for 1 lap. We decided, and in all honesty, Willie, the beer mile ain't that bad. But it's nothing you want to do, though.
Agreed. A lot of season left. Look forward to the rest of the matchups for week 5. Look forward to the predictions video from our commish, as always. But Posh, any final thoughts as we go into the second quarter of the season?
The only thing I have is, 1, check the website. Posh and Spelly officially have access to it. We will be updating it, and it will be live here soon. We will put out a memo to all league owners once it is live. Also, in closing, if you receive an email from our spokesperson to be on the podcast, please respond immediately. We're looking after Fathom's performance on this podcast. I think guests are going to. There's going to be a couple guests in the near future. If you want to be on, you can contact our spokesperson and tell us why you want to be on. But if you get an email from us, don't leave us on red. Email us back.
That's right. It's a special honor to be on the podcast. We have a long list of applicants to be on. So if there's something relevant to talk about, we will definitely have you on. But Posh, I think it was a great week. Loved the special appearance by Fathom. Hopefully we'll have him again soon. But
yes, thank you, Fathom, and everyone. Good luck this week.
Good luck this week. And as always, from Daddy and Papa, Game of Miles, where we take a game of inches and turn into 1,000 miles. Good luck in week 5, and we'll see y'all next week.
See you, everybody.